Welcome to Passion and Purpose with Pamela, celebrating all things woman. I'm Dr. Pamela Hardy Shepherd, here to ignite inspiration through conversations that spotlight women's power and their journeys. Let's share our light, our stories, and create a space of celebration for every woman. Here's to embracing our womanhood together. Welcome to today's Passion and Purpose with Pamela's episode featuring an extraordinary guest, Starr Waters. Since 1999, Starr has dedicated her life to transforming others as a life and wellness coach, starting with her remarkable transformation. Trained at the Coaches Institute in San Francisco, Starr boldly became her first client, shedding over a half of her body weight and proving that her methods through personal triumph worked. Her coaching, which began with a program called the Stay Focused Program, emphasized plant-based nutrition and holistic healing practices that not only transformed her health, but also reversed her long-standing diabetes and high blood pressure. Starr's dedication to health and wellness extends beyond her personal journey. As a community health educator, she has collaborated with various groups and organizations, including the State of Oregon Health Department and the American Heart Association. Her passion lies in educating others about the power of dietary choices in combating diseases that are often considered irreversible. Her work in the health community is a testament to her expertise and dedication. Starr's expertise is wellness is not limited to physical health. She has also made significant contributions to holistic and spiritual disciplines. As a motivational speaker, a retreat facilitator, and a workshop instructor, she has shared her wisdom internationally, including Sistahs, Jammin in Jamaica, her involvement in groups like Sisters Speak Wellness and Spiritual Sisters Speak, further demonstrating her commitment to a well-rounded approach to health and wellness. Her insights extends into podcasts she has hosted discussing health transformations and movers and shakers in the plant-based community. Off the microphone, Starr explores her creative passions from knitting chunky blankets to engaging in visual arts, enriching her family and her home life with her artistic flair. Join us as we delve into Starr's inspiring story and journey and learn how she harnesses her deep knowledge and personal experience to empower others to lead healthier and more fulfilling lives. Welcome, Starr Waters. So, Starr, thank you. So, welcome to Passion and Purpose with Pamela. You know what? I just introduced you, and I was hoping that you would tell the audience a little bit more about you.
Okay. It's like, where do we get started?
Wherever you want.
Okay. And hello, audience. How are you? I'm so grateful to be here with my friend. Uh, I love you so much, honey. And so, anyway, a little snippet about me. My name is Starr Waters, and I always call myself an only lonely because I thought actually that I was the only person in the whole wide world that didn't have brothers and sisters. I'm an only child, and that pretty much kind of marked who I am as an individual. I had to fend for myself, be for myself, and do for myself in all of my life. And that has given me the courage and the motivation and the inspiration to fully live my life as Starr Waters, the mother, the wife, the daughter, the best friend, and the team player as I go along through life. So in a capsule, that's who I am.
That is awesome. You said a whole lot in there. You said you were an only child and what that actually did for you as being an only child and basically how you see the world. So if you could just expound a little more on that, um, being an only child, what did that force you to see and the relationships that you built? What did that do for you?
Well, it certainly gave me the being accountable to everything in life. As an only child, you don't have anybody that you can blame. It wasn't me. It was her. It was him. I am. Like a Shaggy song. Wasn't me.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it was always me.
Mm.
All the attention from my parents was on me. They didn't have anybody else. So, yeah, it gave me accountability. it also put me more so in the limelight because all of my parents' attention came toward me.
Mm,
Uh, Being that I was an only child, I really didn't live a child's life. I lived more of an adult life.
mm.
As a young child of about 4 years old, and up until about the age of 10, I always partied with grown people. Okay. I was invited to weekend dinner parties, adult parties where I would have to dress up.
Mm.
Uh, my mother packed a bag with all of my dresses and petticoats and white gloves,
Oh my goodness.
patent leather shoes, and my name would be on the dinner plate at the table, a place to sit with all the other guests, and they were all grown people, adults. I was the only child. So I guess you could kind of say I really didn't have a childhood in the typical sense because I didn't have brothers and sisters to fight with or share with. And I, was with adults all the time.
Wow.
So that was the beginning.
Oh, you know what? And then I was listening and I said, wow, so that gave you great insight to adults. You were able to observe and learn certain behaviors as a young child, and you were able to look into all the things that they were doing. On one side, I get what you're saying, not having a childhood, but on the other side, it gave you great insight. And when I think about that, because you're one of the most observant people I know, and so, yes, ma'am, because you pick up on things and it's so incredible. And so I really want you to think about that because you have some amazing gifts from the first time I ever met you. So I just want you to talk about that because it is a powerful gift, I think, being raised and being observant of people and knowing when people hurt, when they don't, and how you can help them. Tell us about that. You're probably like, okay.
Well, it was pretty much like being in this interview with you. You're constantly being interviewed by adults. You never know what they're going to say, what they're going to ask, and you have to always be on. You can't, be lagging here because the conversation may vary from them interacting with each other to now all of a sudden you're on the spotlight.
Mm,
And so it would come to, okay, now, young lady, tell me about this. Tell me about that. What do you think about this? You know, um, that kind of thing. So I was able to I had the ability to always pivot, you
mm,
know, going from being the listener to being the speaker
mhm,
at the drop of a hat.
mm.
So that's what I gained and gathered from that early experience of being a child in the room of adults on many, many occasions.
Wow, wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Sar, what do you want to tell us today? Tell us where you can start wherever you want, but what do you want to tell us today?
As you sold this podcast to me, that everyone has a story, I am very grateful to you to allow me to tell my story. It is a story that is unique, as all of our stories are. A story that I always said could be a HBO home movie story. And don't we all think that way?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, a lot of who I am, and I think that this is everybody's like this, is certainly stems from my childhood. As I said, I'm an only child. Goodness gracious, I was daunted on. My mother, and I think my mother had me a little later in life, and I was the second pregnancy for her, and she lost the first child. So everything, all of her attention, all of her love, all of her tutoring. She's the person, my mother, a Gemini, Anna Jackson, may she rest in peace, with love, um, is the person who really trained me to be the speaker that I have become. I can remember as early as about 4 years old being part of the church assembly or program where she coached me on how to sing Love and Marriage.
Mm,
Okay, first of all, what little 4-year-old kid is going to be singing the song Love and Marriage? Okay. Me. And my mother coached me as to, when to point, when to curtsy, when to do this, and when to smile, and how to accentuate my words, and then of course how to curtsy at the end.
Wow.
So I big up and give all the credit to the woman that I am today, to my mother, Anna Wilder Jackson. Thank you, Mom.
Mm. Wow. Oh my goodness. So, when I was reading your bio, plus this is how I met you. I met you at, oh my gosh, it was 2000. 2000, yes, and Sisters Jammin in Jamaica.
Just months before 9/11.
Yes, yes, and this is like so incredible. And you were a speaker at that event. You also you're a wellness coach, and there's so many instances that we can tap on. So I want to start getting into that, but I want to tap on speak about your life and wellness as a life and wellness coach, and talking about your transformation is where we want to start, if that's okay with you, unless you need to go back a little further.
No, that's
That's
a great place to start. That's an
okay.
excellent place to start. How I became a life coach was through living life. Um, my husband of 32 years passed away months before my 50th birthday. It was my vision and my intention that we would grow old together. I would see, we used to walk all the time, and we would see this elder couple that wore members only jackets, same color, light blue. And I would kid him and say, that's going to be us in about 30, 40 years. He was like, no, Starr, it's going to be you and somebody else. It's not going to be me. And I said, why you say that? I'm not going to be here that long. Through his words is when and how I learned and realized words are important. And what you speak and what you say is the picture that you draw and what you get. So 1 year before my 50th birthday, my husband passed away of lung cancer. And as one might think, having a rug pulled from up under him, it rocked me from my balance and my core. I didn't know what to do. I had been a wife and a mother for so long, for 32 years. I had children early and I had children late. And all I knew, like the lady say, I don't know nothing about no birthing no babies.
Yeah.
Hey, I knew everything about birthing. Okay. I birthed babies at home and I birthed babies in the hospital. And I was the perfect wife, in my opinion. Now, I don't know about anybody else's opinion, but in my opinion, I was there, I was supportive. Like I said, my mother taught me how to dance on a dime and give you 9 cents change. I could do all of that. I could do all that. So here I am at 49 years old. I have 3 children at home and no real career. Okay. My career was being the ringleader to making my family work. So I had a girlfriend that we would walk on Saturdays, and she mentioned to me that she had a coach. I had never heard that expression before, or that terminology. So in my head, I was thinking about a person that was behind home base that was coaching a baseball team.
Mhm, mhm.
That was my only thought of what a coach was. And so after hearing her experience with hiring a coach, that was just what God needed me to know, is that in order for me to carry on, a 49-year-old woman with 3 children and all male children at home, I needed to be able to support them. My rock was gone. The man that always came up with the answers and the solutions at just the perfect time to make us sail and soar as a couple and as a family was no longer with us anymore. So I hired a life coach. And that was the turning point in my life. Uh, Kudos to my life coach. I love her. And I always said, if I could be just 1/10 effective as she was for me, boy, the people that I coach will soar and sail and expound in their lives.
Wow. I mean, I get chills when I listen to you articulate so effectively where you were and how you got there and how you were able to see the future for yourself and for others. And you said, if I could be 1/10 of what my life coach was. And to your point, many people aren't, I would say 10 years ago, we would just go back 10 years, really didn't get what a life coach would be. And I remember trying to explain to somebody, we get a coach, a tennis coach, we get a coach for soccer, we get a coach for track, football, and the coach is taking your talent or your skills, whether it be for that, but also for your life, because we don't get through this life by ourselves.
Right.
Whether we realize it or not, somebody's coaching us somewhere, good, bad, or indifferent, our circle of friends, but a
Mm.
coach is there to help you foresee the future, and they ask powerful questions. And thank you for bringing that up, because a lot of people need to hear that. It isn't that you don't know. Sometimes we get stuck on our own stuff. So just thank you for being that transformative and showing us, and the word is transparent, uh, your transformation and being able to share that with us. So carry on, because I'm excited. I have a lot of questions, but I want you to tell us what you think the audience needs to hear. What is really truly important about being a life coach and those that you help, and how it changes lives.
Well, every coach, every life coach has what they call a niche. And it was real easy for me to come up with my niche, and that was wellness.
Mm.
So I am a life/wellness coach. Now, how I happened to select the wellness as my niche was that I was, first of all, here I am, 49 years old, have lost my husband through lung cancer.
Mm.
And this person who I was married to and had been with for 32 years, um, I had never seen him sick, ever.
Mm.
Now, he did have an early experience with being sick because he suffered from asthma very badly. But at 49 years old, here I have a husband that couldn't go to work, couldn't get up, and he wanted to go every day. He was like, okay, I'm going to work today. Not today, honey. They gave you the day off, you know. Um, and then going through health issues myself, uh, dealing with diabetes and high blood pressure and extreme obesity. Yeah, I had some health issues as well. And also seeing myself, as you say, to transform, seeing that I was able to turn that obesity around simply by living life. Okay. Going from a almost 300-pound woman, losing half of her body weight down to a 140-pound woman. That was the perfect avenue or subject matter for me to pick, was wellness, because I was my own guinea pig and I saw it work for me. And that way I was able to chart out and map how it could work for others, because I developed the core and the, how should I say, how it's going to work.
Mhm. Mhm. So you started the Stay Focused program. Is that correct? You started the
That's
Stay
correct.
Focused program, and you emphasize plant-based nutrition, and you want to tell us the holistic healing. You want to tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that's part of the way that I went, was with the Stay Focused program. But at that time, I was plant-based, but I wasn't 100% plant-based.
Okay.
Um, I tried so many other things to do. Like you say, you and I have a history. One of the things that you and I have in common is that we both went to a retreat, a workshop, where we learned how to uh, work our foods, where we would eat food combining way.
Mhm.
And during that time that we were together, we were eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a snack in between each meal, and
Yeah.
a midnight snack. And we were in the log cabin, each of us
Oh.
were in the log cabin. The only mirror that I had in mind, I don't know what you had in yours, but the only mirror that I had in mind was the mirror in the bathroom. But I forgot how many days we were there, like 5 days. But I lost weight.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
like, how in the world could I be losing weight and I'm eating as much as I'm eating? So that food combining was really key for me that I used in the Stay Focused program. And
Wow.
it works and it worked. On the average, and I had two students, okay? And on an average, in a year's time, they both lost about, let's say, 50 pounds
Wow. Wow.
simply by doing the food combination.
Mhm. Mhm.
It was powerful. So that was my key thing that I shared with the students of the Stay Focused program.
Wow. Oh my goodness. And that is so incredible because you were right. It was such a holistic approach because there was two things that we did. We did Sisters Jammin in Jamaica, and then we went someplace and met in California.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a whole day that we couldn't even talk. We learned that you had to stay silent. I've never stayed silent in my life. And that was amazing that I had to like talk to you without saying words, and we did that. And I remember on the retreat in Jamaica where we were all sitting in a semicircle. No, a whole circle, and we had swimwear on, and all we were supposed to do was get up with our swimwear on, walk around the circle, and people would begin to cry. They would do all kind of things. I remember getting up from that circle and running real fast and jumping back down in my seat, and on the floor. And I think about you know our life is so many factors. It's just not when you say holistically, it's just not about food or exercise, but it's the whole gamut. There's so many psychological things that we're holding on to. And I know you can speak to them, so I'm gonna leave it right there, and you go wherever you want to go on that. Because as a life and wellness and a holistic coach, I know you know.
Well, that whole bathing suit thing was about body image, you know, and it's like what the mind's eye see and what other people's eye sees are like so far apart, so far apart. To me, everybody in their bathing suits looked amazing,
Yeah.
and coming off of almost being 300 pounds to where I was at that particular point, hey, I look pretty amazing myself.
Yes, you do.
So I didn't have the same hangups that I saw a lot of the other women who frankly were amazing looking.
Hmm.
Heck, it's all about how we view ourselves and how we think others view us
Hmm.
and which one is going to take precedence. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. And if you could say it again, because people need to hear it, because what I think about me is one thing, but what somebody else thinks about me is something different. And if you could just say that again.
And I love that what you said because what you think about me is really none of my business. You heard that before? What
Yes.
you think about me is really none of my business. That's just you. But what I think about myself means everything.
Mm,
Everything.
mm.
As my mom used to say, everything.
It is so true. We guide our life by what we think and how we feel about ourselves. It can keep us from doing the things we really want to do, or it can project us out there. And really, we have a choice. And I like that. What you said, what I think about you is none of your business.
What you think about me
Hmm.
is none of my business.
Okay. You
Yes.
heard that. Remember that. Say it one more time.
What you think about me is none of my business. It's
Thank
not any concern of mine.
I love that. I love that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so um, I know that you also, as a community health educator, you worked with the State of Oregon Health Department and the American Heart Association. You want to tell us a little bit about that as well?
I was and am so blessed this opportunity really came and found me. Okay. I'll just give you a little bit of background. As part of my transformation practices, I would walk all the time. And I had several different routes that I would walk. Some days I would walk that would work the hips and the butt because the hips and the butt need to be worked on. Okay. At almost 300 pounds. Yeah, they need to be worked on. And so while I was out for my walk, I'm walking down the street, I'm hearing somebody calling my name. And I'm like, where is that coming from? And it was a woman and her companion were looking for me. They didn't know my phone number. They didn't know how to reach out to me. But as God had put it, they saw me walking down the street. They pulled over the car and they gave me this opportunity to work at their health clinic as a community health worker. It was like, what? Me? For real? But then I pulled it together because here I was working with my coach, Kathleen, and we were working on me building a wellness business and being a wellness coach. Wow.
Mhm. Mhm.
And here I have an opportunity to work at a wellness, not a wellness, but a health clinic. OMG.
Yes.
And they didn't say that back in them days, but
No.
wow. So that's how I ended up working at the health clinic. And as a community health worker or community health educator, it was interchangeable. I got an opportunity to work with the community as well as partner with organizations like you said, the Organ Health Division, community, Multnomah County Health Division, uh, my goodness, American Diabetes Association, the Heart Association, the Cancer Association, all these different organizations over a period of about 4 years. And it put me in the spotlight. It put me on stage. It put me working with small groups, large groups, working with, at one point I was at Portland State University, being like in a podcast like what we're doing today, working with people over 6 different states
Oh my goodness.
at a time. I mean, now that I think about it, it was like, that was pretty boss right there. Okay. And the topic was breaking down the African American diet
Mm.
during that we still really pretty much are eating now. And that was so powerful. I amazed my own self. Okay. But to be able to speak to that many people in those many states at the same time was some of the stuff that I did back in the day.
My goodness. I'm gonna move to what you just said when we talk about the African American diet and that we're still there today. If you could tell us a little bit about that, and because everybody doesn't know, and I'm not going to pretend like everybody knows. The audience is vast, and we want to make sure that everybody gets the information. So if you could tell us a little bit about that and where can we make changes in that? Because I'll just pretend like I'm a listener. I don't know how to make change. I'm an African American woman. I don't know how to make changes. What am I supposed to change? You could share that.
Well, there's a terminology that we probably have heard or heard our parents or our grandparents talk about, eating high on the hog. Why are you laughing?
Oh, that's funny because go ahead.
That basically capsulizes it, eating high on the hog, okay? Um, from where we came, we didn't really eat no pig. That
Mhm.
was not part of our religion. It wasn't part of who we were as a people. And so when we were brought to this country, um, we were brought here to basically be worker bees,
Mhm.
you know. And so therefore, we had to be dominated in order to be worker bees. And the domination and the intimidation and all of that came from how they fed us.
Mhm.
So first they're introducing pig to us, and we probably didn't want to eat it, but then, hey, we wanted to live. Those of us that made it past the middle passage and all that, we wanted to live. Okay, so we ate the pig. But Massa, excuse me, I don't know each individual's name, but Massa did not give us the high cut part of the pig. So to even give us more, how should I say, to knock us down and make us more inferior, gave us the low part of the pig, leaving the high part of the pig or eating high on the pig for themselves. Um, and then we ate what we could eat. So we didn't have a lot of time to really be in the kitchen, getting these meals together and everything. So we ate really the scraps
Mhm.
of master.
Exactly.
So yeah, so
And
that's pretty much what it stems from.
so
That's
we, excuse me, I'm sorry. So we carried that on through generation and generation and generation, and we haven't changed the way we eat. That is,
and we celebrate it. I
yes,
mean,
that's called,
we even named it soul food.
yes.
It's the food that's good for the soul. The food that gives us that stickability.
Yeah,
Eat this, you'll be able to get out there in them fields and work from dawn of day, sun up to sundown.
exactly. Exactly. And so it not only do we have that kind of diet, then we got everything else that's going on in the food industry today, the GMOs and you name it. So we put all that together and we have to figure out a way to move away, healthier ways. I love greens, but I don't put fat back in my greens. I
You
do
don't?
not. I will not put it in my greens. And it's like it was years of testing. How can I make it taste as good? I had to come up with different ways to to make food taste good and not use all of pig feed and chitlins and I mean yes you're right, we got the worst part of the pig, the intestines. When you say chitlins is one thing, you say intestines is another. But I remember my mother fixing that and putting it in a pressure cooker, pig ears in a pressure cooker, and those pig ears were so good with hot sauce. But you will not catch me eating pig ears or chitlins today. But people are like, well, you don't know what you're missing. Yeah, I do know what I'm missing. I know what I'm missing. I'm missing the diseases that that animal carries and everything else. If you want to eat pork, you go ahead. But I'm just saying, why do people stay away from it? And I just want to say this. I was watching Roots yesterday. This is so funny. I was
Wow.
watching Roots, and when Kenta, Kunta Kinte was brought in the barn by Fiddler, and he said, "I got you something for the kitchen." And he said, "It's fat back." And he was trying to explain to Kunta Kinte what it was, and he said, like pig, and he did it, and he slapped it down. But eventually, he's going to eat what, like you said, what was presented to you, because if that's how you're going to stay alive, well,
That's
there's
right.
ways for us to stay alive today. And if you want to talk about that, different differences that we can make, changes, it doesn't have to be all at once.
Well, first of all, I would like to look at the word diet.
Mm,
Okay.
yes.
And die from it. You know what I'm saying? Die from it. So
Yes.
do we want to diet or do we want to live it?
Yeah, I love it.
I choose to have a live it. I choose to have something that's going to bring life into my body.
Mm,
Okay. Not something, I don't want to ingest something that is dead, putrefied, and really is creating my body into a graveyard. Life begets life.
yes.
Death begets death. Really, that's how we have to look at it. So don't think now that I have come about this wisdom that I am saying
Hmm.
decades and decades and decades ago. I had to grow into this. Otherwise, I would not have been a woman, and a young woman at that, at almost 300 pounds, excuse me, 300 pounds. So through life, through interaction with other people, through reading, through just going from one day to the next and trying to improve myself is how I have learned the difference between a diet and a live it.
I
Because
love.
I didn't know that before. I had one of the experiences that I had that I always bring about. I have to give kudos to this little young lady that I worked with I would see her sitting at the bus stop after we finished our shift at Nabisco. And most of us know Nabisco, the cracker, the cookie people. We had one of those in our city, and I worked there. And I would see her at the bus stop. We would be on the line, the assembly line together. You remember the old thing with Lucy trying to, all stuff. Yeah, I worked one of those. Okay. And so I would pick her up every day, and I would take her home. Back then, gas wasn't that expensive. So she lived maybe about a mile from me, 2 miles from me. It was no big deal. And to show her appreciation, excuse me, she ended up giving me this book on being a vegetarian.
Hmm.
At that time, we didn't know nothing about being a vegan. A vegetarian was pretty out there, for somebody like myself who ate soul food and ate everything. I ate the chitlins. I ate the pig ears and the pigtails. Okay, I ate it all. And bless her heart, I knew that her mind and her heart was in the right place, but my head wasn't in the same place her head was at. Okay.
Mhm.
So it took everything within me to keep from laughing in this young woman's face, giving me a book on being a vegetarian. And before I could even, I sprouted out, whoo, honey, I die before I couldn't eat my pork ribs and
Mm.
my chitlins. This is not for me. Well, let's fast forward about 3 decades. This sister then went from being a vegetarian to being a vegan to fasting, 100 days to juicing to all of that. Who would have known all these years later, all these decades later, that this young woman placed a seed
Yes,
within me? And
exactly.
how I wished I'd have kept up with her, how I wished I could thank her for being that seed planter. She didn't know what she was doing, and I certainly didn't know what she was doing. I just knew I wasn't buying what she was selling at the time.
Mhm.
But I am so grateful for that transformation in me.
And when you think about that, when you said she planted a seed, many times people come along and they are planting seeds. They're helping you with your foundation. It may not uh, be in your sphere today. It may not be something you can take in. Like really, when I talk to people about off gassing, like furniture and drapes and stuff, they probably look at me like I'm crazy. But I know I'm planting a seed, and they'll hear it again. They'll hear it again. It'll come back and say, "Oh, that's what Pamela was talking about." So the young lady, she did plant an amazing seed, and it's like, forget it, really? And you said you wanted to laugh, but I remember God places people in your life to help plant seeds so that you can become who you are today. And I love that you talk about it didn't start right away. Sometimes we don't even see it. And it's like, that's not for me. But how many times something that you said, that's not for me, not you per se, but to the
Mm.
audience, somebody presents you and you're like, mm-mm, no, that's not for me. And then maybe 5, 10, 20 years down the line, that is for you.
Well, my words exactly was, I'd die. I mean, how explicit can you be? I'd die if I couldn't have my pork ribs and my chitlins and my hmm. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, synonymously, uh, no meat don't equivalent with black people.
That you have
I
to.
mean, we eat soul food. Okay. I mean, that's our culture.
Mhm.
That's who we are. Without that, who would we be and how would we operate?
In the United States, that is our culture. But
Yes.
you go to other cultures that happen to be Black or African, they don't eat the same thing. Matter of
No.
fact, when you pair African American people to African people, and I'll just stay in the arena that I understand, which would be infant mortality. And the Black women, African women come to the United States, their infant mortality rate goes up. But if you pair them to Hispanic women in Mexico, the babies are healthier. The people are healthier. They have community and the way they eat. As soon as they come to the United States, everything goes down, down, down. And you think about it, out of all the industrialized countries, we are number 27. And when I talk about infant mortality is the predictor of a country's health. And so we're like number 27. And as much as our healthcare and industry and everything costs, we're down at the bottom. There's countries so far ahead of us that are not even industrialized countries. So there's something to be said about the sad diet. The diet, it is not live it. It is about what we do in this country. It is crazy.
Well, you touched upon it, the SAD diet, the standard American diet. SAD.
Hmm. It's sad
I
too.
mean, it's you can take that word as spin it as many times as you want to spin it. It comes out the same. It's a killer. It's a killer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I have gone the gamut. And you know what? I still got some more to go because every day we learn something new about life, about others, but particularly about ourselves through living day in and day out. The way that I eat now, oh, I mean, I couldn't even have imagined way back then. Like I said, I'd die if I couldn't have my pork ribs. I don't touch nothing with pork in it. I learned very early. Oh, well, let me go to the next phase. After this young lady gave me this book on being a vegetarian and how to cook vegetarian food, my next planted seed was moving to Germany. And after being in Germany for about a year and a half, becoming friends with, oh my goodness, a couple, a Black couple that happened to be vegetarians. Imagine,
Yes. Yes.
imagine that.
Wow.
So that's where I started learning about being plant-based, being a vegetarian in Germany.
Mm. Oh my goodness. And so, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at you and the audience are looking, I'm looking at your skin. It is so beautiful.
Oh,
And
thank you,
it
Pamela.
is so beautiful. And I'm going to tell you, you look to be about 45, maybe 45, 50, if that. But I'm looking at your skin and I'm looking at the shape of, see, this is what people do. They look at only the skin, but I look at the shape of your face as well. And that also is a teller of women's ages. And I'm looking at you and I said, her skin is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, how did your skin get that beautiful? And I'm not going to ask you your age, but you're older than 45, but your skin, you have no wrinkles. None. No
Thank you.
wrinkles.
I can't tell you. All I can say is that it must be the livid. It has to be the livid. Because I can't equate it to anything else. I don't use facial creams, night creams. I don't put, anything on my face to get the dirt out of my skin. I don't do any of that. I don't use soap. I just use clear water. So I have no idea.
Well, I
But
think that's
as
it.
far as, huh?
I think that's it. Clear water.
Clear water. Well,
Amazing.
let's remember my last name is Waters.
Oh,
So
that's a good
so
one.
I kind of have an affinity with the water thing,
That's
okay?
right. That's right. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is so empowering. Okay. Where do I want to go from here? Because there's some other things. Now, I'm going to take you from your plant-based, excuse me, community, and I'm going to talk about what you're doing now. And if we could go there, I know that you have started work looking and doing art. And if you could tell us, how did you make that transformation? How did you get there? Because it's like there's many stages of our life, and we might be doing this in this stage and doing this and then doing this and doing this. In this stage of your life, can you tell us, how did you get to do this transformation, and then tell us about it?
Well, I guess if we were to name each of our stages in life, I would name this stage uh budding artist.
Mm.
My claim to fame, and I won't say only, because Lord knows I got lots of different claims to fame, but my major claim to fame is being the giver birthwise to artists.
Mm.
I gave birth to 3 sons that all had artistic abilities. I married a man who was very artistic. Okay. Now, all I knew how to do was draw stick figures. Really, seriously. That was my claim to fame, being able to draw stick figures, put the mouth in the right places and the eyeballs and the hands sticking out like that. Okay. So this phase of my life came after a major, major phase that happened almost 2 years ago, where I had the experience of having and living through a heart attack and a stroke on the same day.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
So my life kind of slowed down a lot. Wasn't doing a whole lot of speaking. I was doing a whole lot of retraining my brain and things of that nature. Just figuring out what happened to me and listening to my doctors and health people that as they interviewed me, like you're interviewing me right now, how my lifestyle, how training, my fitness, my eating, and all of that really is what saved me from succumbing from a stroke and a heart attack at the same time.
Mm. Mm-mm.
In that time, your girl had to sit down. Being that I'm an air sign, I'm very mental, okay? And hey, I think a lot in my head. And I had the opportunity to go to a senior citizen grouping where different subject matters were given, and I decided to take a computer class. Hated it. I mean, the whole class was on how to do one thing. By the time all of us seniors got it together, the class was over.
Yeah.
So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to take an art class. Took the art class, and lo and behold, the budding artist was born. It was like being bit by the artist bug. And here I gave birth to all these artists, was married to the artist. Whew,
Who knew?
that's what my daughter said. Who knew?
Mm.
My little granddaughter said, Granny Starr did this? No, no. Yo mama did this. That was the best compliment ever. Okay.
Yes.
So that's how it got started,
Wow.
being in an art class.
I love it. So what you're saying is many times we're going all these other directions and things in our come in our life that cause us to pause or step back. It could be really anything that cause us to pause and take a breath. And that's what you were able to do. And then you looked at something else, took computer class, like that's not for me. And you took the art, which is so creative, and it's been sitting there in there all this time, just waiting to come out. And it is so encouraging to many people because you're not finished yet. I don't care how old you think you are, you're
Mhm,
not finished yet. You're not.
mhm.
You're not.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Because the how should I say, the piece that I came up with, the picture that I came up with after my stroke and heart attack and being hearing other people's stories, people that were younger than me, people that were male, female, older than me, I would hear of people succumbing from a stroke or succumbing from a heart attack. And the fact that I was able to overcome both of those, it's like God is not finished with me yet.
That's right.
He's
That's
not finished with me yet. Thank you, God. Thank you, my children. I have a son that is my personal coach that has been working with his mama out there lifting weights. Before my stroke, I was lifting up to 100 pounds.
oh my goodness.
Oh, girl, yeah. I mean, my son nicknamed me the Beast. You know, um, I am so grateful to all of my children. Thank goodness. One thing that I knew for sure, being an only child, is that I never wanted to put another individual ever in life in that position to be an only lonely.
Mm.
And I'm so grateful to each and every one of the children, the beings, the spirits, the seeds that God had come through me.
Well, we're about to end, but I want to ask you, is there anything that is burning that you have not been able to say that you want to tell this audience? Because everybody's got a story. They got something to say, and their life was not just for them. If there's anything that you can share to give hope or it just food for thought.
Well, this made for HBO, made for TV version of the life of Starr Waters will not be televised today on Pamela's podcast. You'll have to, check out my book when that phase comes about, because I am going to be a published author one day. Okay. You mentioned that I may look this age, may look that age, but I am proud to say that our Heavenly Father, God, allowed me to have my 76th birthday 2 months ago.
You
Hey,
said it. Say it again.
76 trombones is what they're playing.
Okay. Now I want you to, oh my goodness. No, sorry. Not only do you not, let's say the norm, articulate like somebody who's 76, because people think if you get a certain age, you're like they lean in like they can't understand you. You don't articulate, and you definitely don't look at you look so
Well,
amazing.
thank
You
you.
you look so amazing. God is so good. And I know you look good, you sound good. And the other part is you have a young mind. And when I say a young mind, you're willing to try different things. You're like, oh no, I'm so old. Your outlook and your spirit is full of energy. 76. I hope, oh Lord, have mercy. You look amazing. You look amazing. So
Thank you so much.
the last, you get the last word because I can sit up here and the last word is yours. Give us your last words, what you want to say to this audience.
Keep in mind your life plan, your life map. You may not use different things that you have experienced all at once, but trust and believe you will be able to use that, share with others, help others, and help yourself as you look back over your life and tune in to all the lessons that God placed with you in your mind, in your heart, and in your spirit to gift, give, and transfer to others whose paths were meant to come past yours.
With that said, there's nothing else to say besides thank you so much for being here. It has truly been humbling and an honor. Thank you so much, Starr.
The honor is mine. Thank you, Pamela. As my brother-in-law says, I love you to the moon and back.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you all for joining us today on Passion and Purpose. It's been wonderful to connect with you, and I hope you found our conversation as enlightening and inspiring as I have. A huge thanks to our guests who contributed to the discussion and shared their experiences and insights. Your stories are the heartbeat of this podcast, and it's a joy to explore our passions and purpose together. I'm Pamela, reminding you to live with passion and purpose. Until next time, take care and keep reaching for your dreams.